All right, ready to dig into a new career. We're talking about becoming a quarry engineer.
It's a fascinating field, really balancing technical know-how with, environmental responsibility. We'll unpack all that good stuff, the key skills, responsibilities, and career paths.
Plus, we've got some real interview questions lined up. Think of this as your, crash course in acing that quarry engineer interview.
Straight from RoleCatcher's database, by the way.
Oh, right. We should mention we're diving deep into RoleCatcher's career guides today for all you future quarry engineers out there.
Yeah, it's a goldmine of info.
So first up, what does a quarry engineer actually do?
Okay, imagine this. You're standing at the foot of this massive rock formation, right? And it's your job to figure out the safest, most efficient, A&D, most environmentally sound way to extract valuable resources from it.
So it's not just...
Oh, absolutely not. It's not just digging a hole. There's serious strategy involved, problem solving.
What kind of skills do you need to succeed in a field like that?
Well, RoleCatcher highlights some interesting ones, obviously. A strong engineering background, but you know what else? Top-notch reading comprehension.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You're going to be poring over, technical documents, geological surveys, environmental regulations.
So no skim reading for these engineers?
Nope. And it's not all just paperwork. Think about it. You're in a quarry, equipment failures, unexpected, geological conditions, even weather.
Definitely need to be able to think on your feet.
Exactly. Strong judgment, decision-making, those are vital. Assessing risks, putting safety first.
Sounds intense. So where do you even start in a career like that?
Well, RoleCatcher breaks down those typical career stages, from entry level all the way up to, senior quarry engineer.
So there's, a whole path you can take.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You start with the basics, surveying, drilling, blasting.
The blasting always sounds kind of cool.
Right. Then as you gain experience, maybe you specialize. Geotechnical engineering, environmental management, even project management.
Okay, so there's room to kind of, carve out your own path within the field.
Totally.
Now let's get to the real reason we're here, those interview questions. First up, what inspired you to pursue a career in quarry engineering?
Seems simple, but trust me.
There's a right way and a wrong way to answer.
Exactly. You got to show genuine passion, but avoid cliches.
Don't just say you love rocks.
Or explosions.
Right. So what should you say?
Dig deeper. Were you fascinated by the geology behind these resources, driven to, contribute to the infrastructure we rely on?
Finding that personal connection.
Yes, let that shine through.
Okay, good advice. Next question. How do you ensure the safety of workers at a quarry site?
Okay, so safety is absolutely paramount in this environment. Your answer needs to reflect that.
It's not just about hard hats, right?
No way. So, talk about proactive measures, risk assessments, identifying potential hazards, like what if there's falling debris, vehicle collisions.
Things like that.
Right. And training, obviously. Making sure everyone feels comfortable speaking up about concerns.
Creating that culture of safety.
Yes. That's huge.
Now, for a classic interview question, can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot an equipment failure at a quarry site?
Ah, yes. Time to showcase those problem-solving skills we were talking about.
So what are they looking for here?
A specific example. What was the issue? How did you figure it out? What did you do? And then, what was the outcome?
That reminds me of the STAR method.
Yes. Situation, task, action, result.
Always a good one to have up your sleeve.
Keeps you on track, especially when you're nervous.
Okay, we're on a roll. What other challenging questions do we have lined up from the RoleCatcher database?
Get ready to dive into a question about the permitting process. It's something aspiring quarry engineers should be familiar with, and we'll get into why it's so important. But first, all right, so yeah, those permits, they're a big deal. The question is, can you describe the process of obtaining permits for a new quarry site?
So it's not just about knowing how to, extract the materials. It's understanding the regulations, the environmental impact, even the community concern.
Exactly. You really got to know your stuff, and your answer should reflect that.
What kind of things should you be prepared to talk about?
Well, you want to show that you understand the application process. Of course, the environmental impact assessments, community engagement. It all shows you can handle the complexities of the job.
So it's not just technical, it's about being responsible too.
100%. And it's not about memorizing every single step either.
Right. You don't want to sound like a robot.
Right. Just focus on those key stages and really demonstrate you get the big picture. You know what I mean?
Okay, so big picture thinking for those permits. Got it. What else do we have?
All right, this next one is all about problem solving, but on a different level. Can you describe a time when you had to ensure quarry operations were in compliance with regulations?
Oh, this is a good one
Yeah.
because it's all about like walking the walk,
Mm.
not just talking the talk.
Exactly. You need a good example ready to go. Maybe a time you spotted a potential safety hazard or an environmental concern and what you did about it.
Did you have to like create new procedures or work with a team to come up with a solution?
Those details are great to include. And again, the STAR method is your friend here. Situation, task, action, result,
Keeps it nice and organized.
which is key in an interview right when those nerves start to hit.
But speaking of which,
Yeah.
remember how we were talking about RoleCatcher's AI feature?
Oh, yeah. Those are seriously helpful.
Especially for interview prep.
Totally. It can be a game changer. Like, imagine uploading a job description and having AI analyze it. Actually pinpoint the exact skills and keywords that employers looking for.
That's amazing.
Right. It's like having a secret decoder ring for job ads.
You can tailor your answers to match exactly what they want.
Exactly. And it goes way beyond just keywords. It can suggest the best way to frame your experience and skills to fit the job requirements.
So it's personalized guidance, not just generic advice.
Exactly. It's like having a career coach in your pocket.
Okay, that's super cool. Now back to the questions. This next one from RoleCatcher is interesting. How do you manage a quarry operation from a financial perspective?
This one throws people off sometimes, but it's important to remember quarry engineers aren't just tech wizards. They're business savvy, too.
They need to think about the bottom line.
Right. Budgets, costs, profitability, that kind of thing.
So what kind of experience would really impress an interviewer here?
Anything related to managing budgets, obviously analyzing production data, maybe you found a way to cut costs or streamline a process to improve efficiency.
Show them you're good with numbers, not just dynamite.
Exactly. You want to demonstrate that you understand the business side of things and can make strategic decisions.
Okay, so we've talked about the technical side, the regulatory side, now the financial side. What's next?
This next one dives into leadership. How do you manage a team of quarry workers?
That's huge because it's a tough environment. You need someone who can handle it.
Absolutely. It's all about creating a culture of safety, communication, and teamwork. You're responsible for people in a potentially dangerous workplace.
So how do you convey that in an interview?
Talk about your leadership style, how you communicate, how you motivate your team handle conflicts, that kind of thing.
Be specific, though, right? Don't just give them vague answers.
Right. Give examples. Did you ever have to, address a safety issue or motivate your team to meet a deadline, share those stories?
Because that's what they're going to want to hear, those real-life experiences.
Exactly. Show them you've been there, done that, and you can handle it.
Now, before we get to our final few questions, let's talk about another way RoleCatcher can help you prepare for that interview. Their AI feedback tool.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, especially if you get nervous during interviews.
Because you can actually practice your answers, right?
Exactly, and get feedback on your delivery, the content, everything. It's like having a personal coach.
That's amazing. And the feedback is tailored to the job you're going for.
Okay, so you're not just getting general advice, it's specific to that role. Exactly. It's a great way to build confidence and, refine your approach.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from leadership to permits, and even how RoleCatcher can help you prep. But we've still got a few more questions to go, including one that dives into the really technical stuff. Blast design. We'll tackle that right after this. Okay, back to those questions. We were talking about blast design, and RoleCatcher has this one. What is your experience with blast design and optimization?
Yeah, that's it's a big one.
This is where it gets really explosive.
Right. But it's not just about, setting off a bunch of dynamites.
It's about precision.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about control. You need a deep understanding of, the explosives themselves, geotechnical engineering, and all the safety regulations.
What kind of things does a quarry engineer actually have to consider when they're designing a blast?
Okay, so imagine you're basically, choreographing this release of energy, right, to break the rock in the most efficient way. So you got to think about the type of rock, how big do you want those fragments to be, what's the surrounding environment like,
Right.
and of course, safety, always, and all those regulations.
So if you're going into an interview, what kind of experience with blast design would really impress those interviewers?
We'll definitely talk about any experience you have with, different blast patterns, drilling techniques, the different types of explosives.
Makes sense.
Oh, and if you've used any specialized software or modeling techniques, mention that. Shows you're up to date.
So you want to highlight those tech skills too.
For sure.
What about the environmental impact? How do quarry engineers make sure they're blasting sustainably?
That's a great question. It's super important. You'd want to mention things like vibration control.
To protect any nearby building.
Exactly. And you can talk about air overpressure, fly rock, how you control dust. Shows you're thinking about the bigger picture.
It all comes back to that balance, doesn't it?
Yes. Maximizing how much you're yielding, but minimizing the environmental impact.
Okay, last question from RoleCatcher. How do you stay up to date on the latest technologies and trends in quarrying?
This is your chance to show them you're in it for the long haul, that you're always learning.
What are some good things to mention?
Oh, like any industry publications you read, conferences you attend, professional organizations.
Right, showing you're plugged into the industry.
Yeah, and certifications, like the Certified Blasting Technician. That's a big one.
Okay, those are good to know.
Anything that shows you're actively trying to, level up your skills.
Stay ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about what quarry engineers do, the skills you need.
Those interview questions.
Right, and how to knock those answers out of the park.
And don't forget about RoleCatcher. Seriously, their resources are amazing. Their guides, the AI tools. It's like having a secret weapon for your job search.
Absolutely. So if you're feeling fired up about a career in quarry engineering, go check out RoleCatcher. You won't regret it. And in the meantime,
keep learning. This field is always changing. There's always something new to discover.
Until next time, keep digging for knowledge and keep aiming for those career goals.